Anyway, this is exciting. Thanks for coming. I want you to, take a comfortable seat. I want you to remember that since I can only kind of see you, you are responsible for not entering into any pain in yoga, although this will be very restorative and low key. You're in charge of your body. Anything that already hurts, right, doctor? Uh-huh. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Loud exhale. And just starting to let the body relax and let go. Take another deep inhale. And another loud exhale. And then inhale, take the arms all the way up above you. Bring the palms together and exhale them to your heart. And here I want you to pause for a moment to set an intention for your practice. What is it you need from your practice this morning? What is it you need from me? And then if you don't mind allowing my words to be yours for a moment, expressing gratitude to our healthy cells and that they stay that way. When you're ready, release the arms. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale the right hand down beside you. We're taking a side bend to the right. So as you can see behind me, I brought in my friend Ganesh. He's super heavy. I made somebody else carry him upstairs. But I want to talk about Ganesh this morning, and you definitely are not going to remember half of what I say about him. But if you can take one thing away that kind of helps you through this crazy period we're experiencing, then that's all good. Come back to center and release the arm. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, the left hand down. Take that side bend to the left. So Ganesh is the Lord of new beginnings. He is the Hindu deity that helps you with your obstacles. Come back to center, release the arm. And then taking that right leg forward, we're coming into Janu Shirshasana, so that left foot is tucked in, right foot is flexed. Here's where you might want your strap, or I grabbed a lot of household things in case someone pops in who doesn't have yoga props, like, a belt from a robe, or literally a belt. We can use that to lasso the right foot, so you don't have to have yoga props. Right? Sit up nice and tall, big inhale. You're hinging forward from the hips to come into your fold, and your fold is wherever you end up and there is no pain. Close your eyes here. So the fascinating part about Ganesh is that he isn't going to remove your obstacles. Those are life lessons. He wants to show you new ways around them. There are 32 different variations of Ganesh, of which there are about 57 different symbols that he might be holding in his hands. And so I'm going to talk to you about what my Ganesh is holding and the Ganesh behind me. And some of those symbols maybe you might find interesting as a way to help deal with the next few weeks as well. I will avoid saying that C word. You guys know that I'm very careful with words like that being put out to the universe. I do not intend to invite that in, so I'll make reference to it in a different way. Go ahead, take a deep breath in. Exhale, sink just a tad deeper. And then slowly make your way back up. Perfect. Go ahead and draw that right foot in so the knee is bent in front of you. Either the left hand in front or hook with the elbow. Right hand behind you. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, here's your twist to the right. Remember to keep breathing. Each inhale, sitting up a little bit taller. Each exhale, deepening the twist. Start to deepen the breath. Imagining that each inhale brings in peace and relaxation. Each exhale is pushing out stress. Take one more breath where you're at. When you get to the exhale, go ahead and release the twist. Perfect. We're switching legs. Stretch that left leg out in front of you. Pull that right foot in. Again, if you want your strap, this would be the time to lasso that left foot. Sit up tall. When you're ready, go ahead and come down into your fold, closing your eyes. Begin paying attention to the breath. Ganesh is probably one of the most beloved Hindu deities. He is the son of Shiva and Parvati, and he's an extremely loyal and kind character. And we'll talk about all of that as we work our way kind of down all the symbols on this Ganesh statue and the mural behind me. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, sink a little bit deeper into your fold. And then slowly make your way back up. Set that strap aside so you can draw the left foot in. Right hand is in front or the right elbow. Left hand is behind you. Remember on the twist, you always sit up and inhale first. Exhale, take that twist from the abdomen, everything else will follow. Deepening the breath. Each inhale, sitting up a little taller. Each exhale takes you a little bit deeper into your twist. Let's take one more deep inhale here. Exhale, gently release. Free the legs. So grab your bolster if you have one. If you have a pillow, grab that. If you don't have either, a blanket would be great. And you know what? If you don't have any of that, it's all okay. So we're going to put that bolster right behind us or the pillow right behind us. If you have a super soft pillow, you might add to it. You know, adding another one on top. Totally up to you. Restorative yoga is all about you being comfortable. And so I want you to go ahead and sit back against the pillow or the bolster. If you have blocks, let's grab them. If you don't, this was the thickest book I could find, Shantaram. You don't have to use that either. You could have some throw pillows off the couch. But what we're doing is taking the legs into cobbler. Yeah? And so if the hips are super tight and the knees are up here, you're going to want something holding up the thighs. If you have nothing and this is just not comfortable for you, don't do it. Stretch the legs out. So we're going to slowly lean back on that pillow or the bolster. If you have back issues and this is not good for you, then go ahead and turn the bolster in the other direction so you can just use it more as a pillow. And so laying back, if your legs are in cobbler or in supported Supta Baddha Konasana, closing your eyes, and just allowing yourself to hear my words. I'm going to talk to you more about Ganesh and how he can be of inspiration during these times. So starting with elephants do have awfully big heads, right? His big head is a reminder to think big, to think outside the box. Elephants are very gentle creatures, yet also they are one of the strongest creatures in the jungle, right? And so just picture for a moment an elephant moving through a jungle that hasn't been walked through before, and his powerful legs and feet coming down to crush the grasses and make a pathway for you. That pathway is Ganesh's way of taking you around your obstacles. We don't want to crash through them. That takes too much energy. We just need a different outlook. And so I found this poem that kind of fits what I'm trying to say about Ganesh. It's from the Perpetual Calendar of Inspiration, and it goes like this. If you're faced with a mountain, you have several options. You can climb it and cross to the other side. You could go around it. You can dig under it. You can fly over it. You can blow it up. You can ignore it and pretend it's not there. You can turn around and go back the way you came, or you can stay on the mountain and make it your home. And so when I read that, that reminded me of Ganesh, because I believe his whole point is there are so many other options to our obstacles, and sometimes we don't see them because that mountain is looming right in front of us, and perhaps we've even lost our peripheral vision. But there's always a way. Take a deep breath in. Let it slowly go. If you do have your legs bent in cobbler, go ahead and stretch them out on the mat. Take the arms overhead. Huge stretch here from the fingertips through the toes. Take a deep breath in. And when you're ready to exhale, just let the body end up wherever it wants to for a moment. And then go ahead and slowly roll off your bolster or your pillow to whichever side you prefer in a fetal position. Just staying there for a moment. And then gently push your way back up. Just want to move that bolster or pillow off the mat. I am going to want whatever you're using for a strap, and if you don't have one, that's okay. We will work around that. And we're going to go ahead and lay back again. And when you get there, go ahead and hug the knees into the heart. You might want to rock this out a little bit, side to side. Again, take a deep breath in and let it go. We're going to set both feet down on the mat. Grab your strap if you're using one. Let's get it around the ball of the right foot. If you're not using a strap, or you wish you were using a strap but you don't have one, it's okay. Interlace the fingers behind that right thigh. Just close your eyes and breathe here. I want you to picture that elephant again in your mind. The big head, big ears, small eyes, small mouth. Ganesh has big ears so that he can hear everything, but he chooses to receive only the good. The small mouth is to represent really thinking about what you say before you say it. What are you going to put out there to the universe? And the small eyes, they kind of symbolize really, like, really good eyesight, but not literally, like seeing everything, taking that in. He's got a huge brain in there, interpreting it, keeping what is only good for him. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Draw that right leg in a tad bit closer. If this stretch is super easy for you, stretch out that left leg. And then slowly hug it all back in. And while you're hugging the legs in Apanasana, you could just switch that strap if you're using it to the left foot. Again, if you're not using one, it's totally fine. We're going to set that right foot down on the mat, stretch that left leg up. So the trunk of the elephant. The trunk is kind of fascinating because it is strong enough to knock over trees and pick up logs, yet it is sensitive enough to pick up a simple blade of grass. And so the trunk represents being adaptable. And if there was ever a word that we should find right now that describes this time we're going through, it's adaptable. Now, what's really interesting about the trunk on Ganesh is some statues, the trunk twists off to the left. That's a really lucky, successful prosperity kind of Ganesh. Some of the trunks are straightforward and some go off to the right. So interestingly, my Ganesh has a trunk going off to the right. That means he's a little bit more active and a little bit more high maintenance in offerings to him. Go ahead, draw that leg in a little closer if you want to. Stretch out the left leg. Big inhale. Exhale, knees to the heart. Set that strap down. And then we're rolling into a fetal position, but I want you to roll in the opposite direction of the first time we did that. And then gently push your way back up. So we're setting up for a restorative pose here. If you have a bolster, let's grab it. If you have a pillow, grab that as well. You might have two pillows. I'm going to put the bolster or pillow off from my left hip. So I've turned. I'm going to drape my legs over to my right. Give you a second to set that up since I can't see most of you guys. So we're going to sit up really tall here. We want to lengthen out of the waist. Turn the heart towards your pillow or your bolster. Bring the hands down. And then I'm just going to slowly bring my heart down to rest on that pillow. If you have the left ear down, that's going to be more compassionate. That's usually the side I would choose. If you want more stretch out of the neck, you could turn the head to face in the opposite direction. That is completely up to you. No pain in yoga. If you don't like this pose or it's bothering the back in any way, instead of adding that twist, turning the heart to the pillow, you could come down on your left side instead. So make this what you need it to be. So in the 32 variations of the Ganesh statue or depiction, you will see Ganesh with sometimes 4 arms, sometimes 6. It could go all the way up to 12, maybe 16. If you see a Ganesh with 2 arms, that's supposed to be bad luck. You don't want that Ganesh in your home. So my Ganesh has 4 arms. In one of those, he's holding an ankusha. That's a Sanskrit word that means elephant goad, G-O-A-D. A goad is what is used to, it's kind of like cowboy spurs. It would be kind of what's used to prod the elephant along. But symbolically, the reason Ganesh is holding it is to prod us, man, humankind, down a path of righteousness and truth. And so as you think about that with the current situation that we find ourselves in, sometimes that path of righteousness might not be exactly what we want or desire, but we know it to be the correct path. In one of Ganesh's other hands, he's holding his broken tusk. And so, as with many mythological stories, there are different variations of why Ganesh has one full tusk and one broken one. And I'll tell you two of the stories, since you're just lying there happy as a clam. One of the stories says that Ganesh was asked to transcribe an ancient text, the Mahabharata, and he felt that an ordinary pen wasn't worthy of those words. And so he broke off his tusk to use it as the pen to write that text. A second story as to why he only has 1.5 tusks says that he was in a fight and Rama threw an axe at him. And as the axe was coming towards him, Ganesh recognized that that axe used to belong to his father, so he humbly stood there and let it hit his tusk. Both stories symbolize sacrifice, right? And so while we may not want to be having yoga from the privacy of our homes right now, it is a sacrifice that we're offering to each other to keep everybody as healthy as possible. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Now use your hands to slowly push your way back up. I'm just going to unravel my spine to the right. My hands are going to find the ground. You might even shift your hips a tiny bit over to the left. This is so you can lay straight back on your bolster or your pillow. I still have my legs kind of at an angle though, so this will be a twist. So as I lay back, I'm going to want to open my arms wide. And again, if you get here and your low back is saying, yeah, this is not the sacrifice I intend to make this morning, you change the pose to what you need it to be. I would suggest at that point, forget the twist. Square the hips, keep the knees bent, and just lay back. So that's totally up to you. So in the third hand of this statue, Ganesh is holding a piece of modak, which is a Sanskrit word for an Indian sweet. It is no secret that Ganesh has kind of a big stomach. He really, really likes his sweets. And so that sweet that he's holding, it has two different symbolizations. One is to really appreciate the sweetness of life. Yes, if you've decided to go on lockdown and you're holed up in your house, can you find the sweetness of that? I mean, what do you have time to do now that you've been putting off? Or do you just want to take a break and, play games or, find a new app on your phone to mess around with? Find something sweet to focus on. But that sweet that he's holding also represents control. Admittedly, Ganesh does not have a lot of control over what he eats, but it is an offering of such to say, try to find balance. In the particular statue behind me, Ganesh is holding something in his trunk. Oftentimes you don't see that, but what he's holding here is a mango, so that also is a representation of the sweetness of life, control, and balance. In a lot of Ganesh statues, you'll see a bowl of that Indian sweet at his feet. All right, take a deep inhale. Loud exhale through the mouth. Bring that right arm back over and use it to very slowly Push your way back up. Perhaps your head is the last part of the body to lift. You can either then move your prop to your other side or turn around. It won't matter because I can't see you. So I'll move mine so I'm still facing forward. But that bolster or that pillow will be next to the right hip. Legs will be draping to the left. Always remember in this pose, I need you to sit up really tall first to get the length in the waist. Then turn towards your pillow and slowly walk your way down. Right ear resting on the pillow. If you're taking the compassionate version, you can turn your head so the left ear is down if you so choose. In Ganesh's fourth hand, he's holding a noose. So that represents a couple of things here. The noose represents drawing the people that you love close to you. But what I think is also important to remember, especially during this kind of crazy time, is that that noose also represents pulling in strangers. So I've seen a lot of great posts on Facebook in the past couple of days about people offering, if your kids don't have food, PM me, or if you've run out of something, let me know, I'll go get it. And to me, that is that Ganesh noose being tossed out into a pool of strangers. And that also ties in with the tusk being sacrifice. I said the noose represented two things. So the second thing is that it's a reminder of our attachment, our drawing in tightly of worldly goods, worldly attachments that truly are not important. And so oftentimes, actually, when you do sit up, the mural behind me, that Ganesh is holding an axe. That's what the axe represents, a cutting of those attachments, a cutting and letting go of what is not serving you. So for instance, if you have holed up in the house and you're just super depressed about not being able to make it to, the gym, that's an attachment you have. And Patanjali would say, it is in that way that you create your own suffering. So let that go. Run up and down the stairs. Come on over and pick up this Ganesh 3 times. You can find a different way around your obstacle. Take a deep inhale. Nice big exhale. So remember, we turned this into a twist with the heart facing up. So use the hands to gently push your way up. I'm just going to let the hands swivel around me to the left. And again, here's where you might want to move the hips forward just a tad. I'm going to open my heart and slowly lay back. The arms will reach out from the shoulders. And again, if your low back doesn't want to be in this kind of a twist, square the hips, bring the feet to the mat, knees facing the ceiling. Find your breath. Each inhale, breathing in peace and healing. Each exhale, letting go of those attachments that we don't need. Exhaling worry, exhaling stress, just being. Recognizing that you've given yourself this gift of relaxation, so grab onto it. Don't let the mind wander off to unknown places. And speaking of that wandering mind, that'll bring us to the mice that you see on the statue, or that you typically see Ganesh standing on. But I'll hold that part of the story for a moment as you take a deep inhale. Big exhale. And we're going to take that left arm, bring it back over in front of you. Excuse me, so you can very gently push your way back up. Perfect. Stretch out the legs. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. Flex the feet and close your eyes. If this already feels tight in the back of the legs, I want you to add a little bend to the knees. If you don't really feel this and you're okay here, the legs pushing down, stay right there. Inhale, take the arms up. Bring the palms together, exhale them to the heart. And then let the hands come down to the floor first, because we really want them as our guide. Walk your way forward into a fold. If your fold only moves an inch, that is how much it was supposed to move today. No judgment, no ego, nobody can see you. Yeah? So find that place where your fold should end up and close your eyes. You're trying to lengthen the back, which means reaching the crown of the head toward the feet. Each exhale, softening a little deeper. And then use the hands to walk back up the legs, avoiding the knees. And let's make this a little bit more restorative, shall we? So I would grab every prop that you have nearby. Pillows, bolster, pile it on. You want this to be as high as you need it to be for your head to rest on something. So if that means this is where we're at, this is where we're at. This is perfect. I'm pretty comfy here. If it means, well, no, I don't have blocks, but I do have my book and I have this little throw pillow, okay, that works. If you feel like you want your strap to hang onto the feet, you could use that as well. You just need to make this however makes you happy. If you haven't been folding in a while and this is not working for you whatsoever, what I would do is prop the near end of the pillow or bolster up. I would start piling things underneath. Let me turn it sideways so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So that I do have something to come down upon. Restorative yoga is just supposed to be about every part of the body feeling supported. And we just don't want the head hanging in space. So when you've found a way to be comfortable, close your eyes. I do know folds do challenge the mind, so try not to let it get away from you. Remember, this is your practice, and if you really, really hate sitting in this restorative fold, don't do it. You can lay back if you want to, right? You could use your pillow behind you. So all of the Hindu deities have a vehicle of transport. Ganesh rides on a mouse, which might seem just inconceivable and really odd, but there are symbolic reasons behind that. So one of them is elephants are typically afraid of mice, right? So with Ganesh standing on the mouse, it represents control over his fear. And in fact, as the story goes, when he made the mouse his vehicle, the mouse asked Ganesh to not feel so heavy to him. So he feels lightweight to the mouse. So don't worry about the mouse. Remember, Ganesh being an elephant is totally vegetarian and kind in that way. So he wouldn't hurt the mouse. Mice can see very well in the dark. And so in that aspect, his mouse is symbolic of leading us from darkness into light. And I would say that right now we are kind of in a time of darkness. We're not sure what's coming. But the darkness always evolves into a lightness. And so we use the other symbols that Ganesh has offered us, right? Letting go of attachments, sacrifice, path of righteousness, just to help us until that light shines through. The other thing about mice is, you know, they can get to a lot of places we don't think they can. We have no idea where they are within a house. They can get into little small crevices, right? And so in one way that represents allowing Ganesh to get to every crevice in the world to help offer his insight into obstacles. But yet in another way, the mice getting everywhere is symbolic of the wandering mind. And with Ganesh standing on the mouse, he has control over that. And that's what we're looking for. Take a deep breath. That's long enough to be in a fold of any kind, right? Go ahead and make your way back up. And set your props aside for a moment. Let's come on over into hands and knees, table. If you have issues with your wrists, you might want to be up on the knuckles. If you have severe issues with your wrists, don't do table. Yeah, you can just sit back. So we're just going to cat-cow. Inhale, cow, belly sinks, heart lifts, chin lifts. Exhale, round it into cat, the head becomes heavy. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Do that 3 more times. Remember, the movement matches your breath. So try to slow down the breath. Try to slow down the movement. I'm going to do one more because I totally wasn't counting at all. And then make your way back to a neutral spine where we're going to stretch out the left leg behind us, tucking the toes onto the earth and just pushing back into that heel for a calf stretch. Deepen the breath. With Ganesh offering us new ways around obstacles, ways we hadn't seen before, I need you to apply that to your yoga poses. If something is unobtainable today or it's not comfortable, you don't have to do it. We can get to these stretches in other ways. Go ahead, come back to table, send that right foot out behind you, tuck the toes, push into the right heel. Deepen the breath. Inhale. Big exhale. Slowly come back to table. I would grab those pillows again, or your bolster, or coming into a supported balasana, child's pose. So feet are together, knees go wide. If you have knee issues and you already know you don't like child's pose and you don't know what else to do, wait for me. If you already know what to do, go ahead and go there. But for our supported child's pose, the bolster and the pillows are in front of us, just inside the knees. You can prop this up as much as you want to. If you grab blankets and stuff, go ahead. Whatever makes you happy. And then come on down, right? If you have slight knee issues, this is kind of okay, but kind of not. You might take that blanket and bring it right behind the knees on top of the calves. That'll stop the knees from going down so far, right? You can turn your head to whichever side feels most comfortable. I'll tell you when to turn it. Yeah. And if you really hate child's pose, this is just not the thing for you, flip it over. Reverse child's pose, right? We can lay on the back and we can hug the knees in, keeping the knees a little loose and wide, and that's just child's pose flipped over. So you need to do what's right for you. Again, allowing that breath to bring in on the inhale everything that you need. Peace, relaxation, health, love, light. That exhale, it takes everything away that you're willing to let go of, to use Ganesh's axe on and release once and for all. Some of the statues of Ganesh are seated. Sometimes he's seated on a lotus. Sometimes he is seated in a yogic position, most often lotus pose. Sometimes he's standing. Sometimes he's dancing. And the Ganesh that I have, he's got one knee raised, he's dancing, and that represents moving through life no matter what comes your way. And you could perhaps also argue that it's just showing you another way around your obstacle. You don't have to walk straight through, you can dance around it. Remember that most Hindu deities are represented in some fashion with the lotus. This Ganesh statue is actually standing on an upside down lotus flower. And the symbolicness of that flower is that they grow deep in the murky waters and they can't see their way. Again, that should sound a little familiar, the mouse, right? Darkness into light. Yet that flower doesn't doubt that it's headed in the right direction up towards the sunlight. And eventually it emerges. And there is sun, and there is warmth, and there is light, and all is well. And that is where we're headed. You have your head turned to one side, will you go ahead and turn it to the other? If you're in child's pose with the forehead down, you can stay there. If you can't already tell, Ganesh is one of my favorites. You could learn his mantra if you feel compelled to call upon him to help with any obstacles. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. You can email me for it, you can Google it. Sometimes it's Om Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaste. Remember, Namo, Namaste, Namaha, they all mean I bow to. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Use your hands to very peacefully push you back up out of child's pose. Go ahead and set the props aside for a moment. And let's come back to Sukhasana, easy pose, cross-legged. Inhale, take the arms up. Bring the palms together, exhale to your heart. Interlace the fingers, turn the palms up towards the sky. So as you stretch the arms up, most likely the shoulders are going to go up, so take them back and down. See if you can bring the arms back a little bit behind the ears. How flat can you get the hands, right? You can look up and see, are the thumbs, pointing down towards the earth, or can you level that out a little bit? Sit up nice and tall. Deep breath in. Exhale. Bring the hands back to prayer pose at the heart. Let the hands come down to the earth and walk you into a fold. And then very peacefully, walk the hands back in. We're going to go ahead and scoop up that right leg. I'm keeping the left one bent. We're just cradling the leg. What I want you to be careful of is sometimes to get that leg up here, we round out the spine, and this is not where we want to be. We want that spine long. So if you need to make this leg back off to get the spine long, that's where you should be. Find what's good for you. You might add a little movement, asking that right hip to open up. I don't care if this Ganesh is high maintenance with his little trunk going off to the right. Sometimes you'll see Ganesh with a third eye. You can see in the one behind me on the wall, he's got the Om symbol on his hand. Go ahead and switch legs. Remember the representation of the Om symbol, well, in sound, Om represents every sound you could possibly make in the universe, right? But the curves of the Om symbol represent the stages of sleep, wakefulness, in that kind of Shavasana middle state, and then being sound asleep, right? And then the little dot represents nirvana, but that line underneath it, Turiya, is our obstacle. So we're going to go ahead and set that leg down. Bring the hands behind you and then come on down onto the forearms. I want you to be careful not to sink the upper back, rounding out the spine, that there's a lift here, a straightening, a neutral spine. And then we're just lifting up the legs into a supported half boat. So shins are parallel to the earth. Deepen the breath. Option A, stay right here. Option B, well, you might take the legs about 45 degrees over to one side. Stay for a breath. Come back through center. Take them to the other side. Closing your eyes. Nice. Coming back to center when you're ready. Setting the feet down and releasing the arms so you can lay all the way back down. Knees are still bent. Feet are hip distance. I want you to push the back of the head into the mat so you can lift your upper back, slide the shoulder blades down, and then resettle upon them. And then what you might have noticed is that might have created an arch in the low back, so now I want you to shift that down. Arms are down, reaching alongside the body. When you're ready, we are lifting up into bridge. Before you do that, remember you never turn your head in this pose because the weight's on your neck. So if you aren't sure what bridge is, look at me first before you go up, yeah? We're just lifting the hips. You should feel the back of the neck lengthen, chin tucks in. Here's your inhale. Exhale, slowly bring the hips back down. Breathing in and out through the nose. Once you touch down, stay for a breath. And then on your next inhale, balls of the feet push into the earth, lift the hips. This is a very slow and controlled movement. Exhale your way back down. Stay for a full breath. If bridge bothers your knees when you go up, lift the heels as well. Yeah, last one, lifting up. Exhale back down. Hug the knees into the heart. Rock it out if you want to. Stay still if you prefer. And then roll off to a side in a fetal position. Stay there for a moment. It's just our transition. I promise there's a restorative pose next. Deepening your breath. And slowly pushing your way back up. So this time, if you have a blanket, let's go ahead and make a neck roll. So I'm just gonna unfold it a little bit and roll from an edge. That will go behind me for my neck to rest on. If you don't have a blanket, grab a pillow off the couch. The bolster or your pillows that you grabbed, we're gonna put them down at the other end of the mat. Legs are going over the pillow or the bolster. This should be awesome. Once you get here, close your eyes. I want you to rest your hands on your abdomen. Feeling the breath. You know, the breath is kind of like a river. The river knows exactly where it's going. So does the breath. So let it guide you. Don't add control. Just let it be. Even if the breath is feeling a little tight or stuck, let it be that. It'll work its way through. Keep your mind focused on the breath. So the symbolic mice cannot run away and make our mind wander. That Chitravrita that Patanjali talks about, that mind chatter that just goes on and on. We don't need it. So switching from allowing the breath to be on its own to adding that control element back. I want you to start deepening the breath. Remember, you're breathing in and out through the nose. Take one more really deep breath. Feel the lungs working at their fullest capacity. And then empty out the lungs completely. Slow, deep inhale to your count of 10. So you can count as fast as you need to, but we're trying to learn how to control that, right? So it's an inhale to 10. I want you to exhale to at least 12. Try to get to 15 if you can. Remember, the counting's like the poses. I need you to do what works for you. I want you to follow 2 more breaths like that. When you have finished that last exhale, I want you to let the control go. We don't need it. So if you are new to yoga or heading into Shavasana, which is corpse pose, you're pretty much in it. If there's anything you want to change, this would be the time to do so. Corpse pose is generally lying flat on your back. Legs are spaced out a little bit. Arms are spaced out from your side a little bit. But in a restorative class, we can grab all the props and use them however we would like. The point of corpse pose is to calm the mind. So if you have thoughts popping in, see them as clouds going by, or maybe you see them as those little mice running around if you're not afraid of mice. But then see Ganesh come over and control them. They'll listen to him. If you can see the statue closely, the mice are looking at Ganesh with fondness. They have a very loyal and mutual relationship. Make sure as you get comfortable for Shavasana that every part of the body is comfortable. So if you need to do some wiggling, go ahead. You might use your blanket to completely cover up with. I promise you, it's okay if you fall asleep and don't wake up when we end this class. It'll be okay. That's what you were meant to do. Allow the eyelids to grow heavy. Feel the muscles relaxing. The bones growing heavy. I especially want you to take your focus into your face because the facial muscles have a tendency to not let go. So I want you to relax the forehead. Soften the eyes. And soften the space behind the eyes. Feel the temples release. The muscles in the cheeks letting go. allowing your jaw to soften and the tongue. Each exhale, allowing you to sink deeper and deeper into a place of relaxation. You know you are in a completely safe space. It's your space. And you are free to relax as deeply as you so choose. Haruki Murakami wrote, "And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what the storm is all about." Begin to deepen your breath. Bring some movement into the fingers and the toes. And you can either stay as you are or roll to a side in a fetal position. Take a deep breath in. Let it go and very peacefully push your way back up. Even though Ganesh's hands are occupied, he most always has two hands in Abhaya Mudra. So take your left hand, palm open, and just let it rest in your lap. That's a gesture of receiving. Your right hand comes up by your shoulder, palm facing out. And so Abhaya Mudra is about dispelling fear. The right hand pushes the fear away, the left hand receives all the goodness. So just stay in Abhaya Mudra for a moment, close your eyes. Think about the intention you set at the beginning of class. And then release that right hand back down. Strong inhale through the nose. Super loud exhale through the mouth. Inhale, both arms up. Bring the palms together and exhale them back home to your heart. The light in me bows to the light in you. And when I'm in that place in me and you're in that place in you, then we become one. Namaste.